K declared, the best way to predict the future is to invent it. How do successful organizations build on their history, even as they craft a new point of view about what comes next? Business is at the center of innovation. Companies are competing to create the products and industries that will be successful tomorrow. Extraordinary visionaries are sometimes also entrepreneurs who see possibilities and then strive to bring them to life. But which companies are the future creators? The ones who are not afraid to take risk. The ones which move fast and break things. The ones that ask for forgiveness, not for permission. Yes, we are talking about startups. Startups are weird. They are full of people working on ideas that barely make sense, for markets that don't exist. They are also full of people who want to do things that have never been done before, which means that they need to invent new stuff before they can find customers. It's a terrifying process. If you have spent time in the startup world, you know what we are talking about. But if you haven't, it may seem like we are making it up. So, let's meet Kemal Balihodzic and his story.
At the FutureX conference, talking about startups, hustle, grinding, and innovation. Love my life, hashtag CEO, hashtag speaking, hashtag dominating. Oh, and one more thing. Oh, this is going to be awesome. This is going to be great. How I started and how I came here. This morning, around 5 o'clock in the morning, what I did first was I took some time for myself, like 15 minutes, just rounded my thoughts. And I was actually thinking about what to do with my life. So then I had a cup of coffee. I did my jogging. I started working around 10 o'clock in the morning. And, I quit my 9-to-5 job because why waste your 9-to-5 job? Why waste 8 hours on something that, you're working for somebody else? Yeah. So what I did was I quit my 9-to-5 job to work actually only 2 hours a day. And here I am, a startup entrepreneur. Oh man, you know how many times I heard this? You know how many times I really get the chills when I see somebody on LinkedIn or on Facebook typing in, ninja or digital guru or growth CEO, founder, etc. So what people are actually anticipating when they start a company, when they start building their dreams, and when they decide to quit their 9-to-5 job is usually something that they believe and see on social media, or they believe when they talk with other people and they see, hey, this guy drives a cool car, this guy has a nice suit, this one is, he's always on TV, he's always on social media, I want to be like him. So that's what we're thinking when we talk about startups. But let me tell you something, and this is the cold-hearted truth, I swear to God. Let me tell you something. 90% of startups fail in the first 2 years of their existence. That's what they're not telling you. They're not, they're talking about, hey, it's good to be an entrepreneur. Yeah, it is good to be an entrepreneur. And I'm the one who's going to actually tell you my story. I'm not going to talk about some other stories. I'm not going to talk about some other people. I'm talking about myself, my journey, what I did in order to succeed in business. Now, it's not about only hustling and grinding and saying, hey, we're going to do it on social media, we're going to post what we're doing and it's going to boom. It's not like that. Usually, the key question that we always have to ask ourselves is, what does it take to be an entrepreneur? What does it take to start off your company? And let me tell you something. Everything you hear about startups, forget about it. Forget about what you hear. We're all following Elon Musk, we're following Jeff Bezos, Jack Ma, all these big people. We all watch the movie, right, of Steve Jobs. And we think, hey, I want to be the new Steve Jobs. I want to be the new Jack Ma. I want to be the new Elon Musk. Elon, he tweets something and it goes crazy. Why? Because he's Elon Musk. He built something from scratch. But what people don't see is the 80% of things that he doesn't publish. The 80%, the Pareto principle, which says 20% of what we see is done by the 80% of what we don't see. So this is the same in startups. Well, this is the same in life. These people, Elon Musk, for instance, the guy, he literally did what people thought improbable, impossible. He made it happen. He built the electric car. He's building a spaceship. Let's talk about Jeff Bezos. He started out with selling books online and then having the largest, one of the biggest distribution and transport companies in the world. These people, they're still alive. They're with us. And there's 100 people like that. But the key question that we have to ask ourselves, what do they have that makes them an entrepreneur, that makes them successful in what they do? Now that's the question. It's easy to say, hey, I have an idea. Screw the idea. Nobody talks about the idea. It's about the execution that matters. It's about what we do regarding that idea that matters. So let me tell you my story. One of my biggest achievements that I'm very proud of, I got married when I was 20. I got my first kid, my beautiful baby daughter, when I was 22 years old. It was something incredible. It was something that I really thought would, help me grow, and it did. But it was tough. And let me tell you something, people. It was tough. It was hard. It was hard being a young dad. While at the same time, you have all these goals, you have all these wishes to succeed. And I didn't have a father that was with me. I lost my father very early. And I didn't have somebody to push me into that direction and tell me, hey, kid, what you're doing is wrong. So I started out working in a company, all right? And I was pretty much good at it. I was climbing the ladder. And my first company, which I was always thinking about new stuff, new ideas, new things to do. At the age of 22, I started out my first company. And let me tell you something, it was a great name. I chose the name. It took me a month to choose the name. It took me more than a month to actually make the logo. And listen to this. It was called The Royal Choice. Oh God, it was amazing. It failed after 6 months. I closed my company down. Why? Because at the age of 22, you feel like you know it all. At the age of 22, you feel that whatever you do is going to succeed. You feel like you can move the mountains, but also you feel very anxious. And you're not listening. At the age of 22, I started and I failed, which was one of the best milestones that I had in my life. And I don't regret it. I love it. I speak about it. Because without that failure, I couldn't succeed in my second company, which I sold for peanuts. I sold it for nothing. And then I started out my third company. And the way I did it was I had to quit my 9-to-5 job. And why I did it was I was pretty good at my 9-to-5 job. I was very good at it, but I didn't work 9 to 5. I worked more than 12 hours a day within another company. So when I was done with that thing, I was thinking, should I choose another company or should I start my own? Now let me tell you something. When you come to that point, when you're thinking, and most of you listening to me right now are thinking, hey, should I quit my 9-to-5 job? Let me tell you something. Don't. Because in order to quit your 9-to-5 job or to have some security within your family, find something that actually works. I didn't do that. I jumped and said, hop. That's what I did. I quit my 9-to-5 job. I opened my company and I was sitting there in my office. I took a very nice office. I pulled all my savings within that company. I opened the company and then I was sitting there and said, oh shit, what do I do now? What do I do now? And it was tough. I had all these partners, all these family members, all these people that were cheering me up, saying, hey, you're going to succeed. You're going to do very good. You're going to be awesome. And I was sitting there and I had a small kid. I had a wife that were very kind of nervous about it. And let me tell you about negotiating with the wife. Now, that's a different story. It's the biggest deal I had to make. But I was sitting there and I was thinking, what do I do now? And I swear to you, in the first 3 weeks, I had more than 50 meetings. I sold nothing. I sold nothing. What they don't tell you is that 9 out of 10 startups fail. What they don't tell you is when you open a startup, when you open a company, it's not about changing the name in LinkedIn or changing the name on Facebook or writing some cool posts or having some cool selfies taken on. It's about what you do that matters and how you succeed with your emotions, with your intelligence, with your efforts, with how much you actually put in the work, because that's what matters. It's not about the idea that you have. A lot of people have great ideas. And by the way, we live in 21st century. So right now, you can Google top 50 businesses you can do from home. Right now, at this moment, while you're listening to this, you can actually go on Google, say, hey, top 50 businesses that I can do part-time to have some passive income or start my own company. But what does it take to be an entrepreneur? Because nobody tells you that when you start a company, you're not only the CEO of the company, you're everything. You do sales, you do a lot of administration that I personally hated, and I worked 3 years doing some paperwork that I hated. You do accounting that I didn't know anything about, because in my previous company, I had an account office, I had sales, I had a law, legal affairs. So all these things that I had, now it just fell on me. And I was thinking, how do I handle this? And it's tough, you go home, you lay down, you're thinking in your head, like, what should I do? How do I handle it? Now, there's a couple key points that you have to do and to understand. One, business needs money in order to survive. So a lot of startups, when they build their own company and have their own idea of how to do anything, and let me tell you something. I didn't build something tremendous, different like Elon Musk. I started out with a marketing agency because I was good in marketing. All right. I started out with building my own reputation in sales, training, coaching, because I was pretty good at it. I didn't do something that like most people didn't do. There's a lot of sales coaches, a lot of sales trainers, a lot of motivation speakers out there, but the way I did it was a bit different. So what you need at the time is, number one, you need to know what you're selling. You need to know what you're offering. And it's not about only money. It's about a solution that you as a startup offer. Because that's what business is about. Business needs money to survive. But before money comes into place, you need to find a solution that helps solve people's problems. You need to know what exactly you're selling, what kind of solution. That's what I didn't know. So that's number one. Number two is you need to understand that you're going to face a lot of no's when you start a company. You're going to face a lot of people who say, hey, you're good, but hey, let's talk sometimes afterwards. Call me in 2 weeks. Call me in a month. Not right now. Yeah, we have somebody on board. So that's what they're going to tell you. I had a lot of cases similar to this. That's what they're going to tell you. They're going to tell you, hey, that's good. You're great. You're a very good young man, but we have somebody else. You got to understand this. When you start a company, your family, your friends, your business partners, they're not going to buy from you. They're not going to even help you. They're probably going to say, he's going to fail or she's going to fail. So that's the cold-hearted truth, that you gotta prevail with your smile. All right, so you're gonna face a lot of no's. Number three, when starting out, you gotta understand one thing. Your product has to be good. All right, whatever you're doing. But a lot of startups fail to succeed in their third or fourth phase of development, which is sales. So you have a cool product, you have a good founder, and I remember there were some kids coming for my mentorship program a couple of years ago, and they were saying, hey, we're going to be the next Facebook. I said, yeah, brilliant, let's talk about it. So they have it all figured out. But I asked them one question. How is this providing different value than the current products that are already online and that people can find just Googling it? And two, how are you going to earn money? Is it investment? Is it sales? Is it commercials? ads, whatever you do. So that's where most startups fail. They come to this amazing point where they're very enthusiastic, they're very energetic, but let me tell you something. Enthusiasts are amateurs. Professionals, they plan ahead. They think about what's going to happen in 2 or 3 years' time. So in their third phase, when the market needs to be introduced to the product or the service, that's where they fail. Why? Because they're not used to sales. They don't know what's in the market. Nobody teaches them what's in the market. They teach them about, hey, this is what you need, paperwork to open up a company. This is your product. You need to understand the development phase of your product. But nobody tells them the wholehearted truth, which is when you face the market, that's a jungle. That's a different jungle. That's something you have to kind of understand within you. It's going to eat you alive if you're not ready for it. So you got to understand sales. The fourth thing you need to understand is that people make business happen. People do businesses. It's not about products. It's not about services. It's about people. Find the right people to work with you within your startup, with the right mentality. Find the right people that will be your partners with you. Find the right people that are going to be your clients. Not everybody has to be your client. Because you can't do it all. You know, the first 2-3 years of your startup, you can say, hey, I'm going to do administration, I'm going to do sales, I'm going to do legal, and you need to know this as a startup entrepreneur. But what happens afterwards, you need the right kind of people to take the edge off you so you can actually focus on doing your business. That's how you grow. And let me tell you something. In order for startups to succeed, you need at least 5 years. So number 5, patience. Number 5 is patience. I can't stress this enough. You can't be overwhelming yourself and thinking, hey, I need to succeed in a year or 2. Look at this guy. How did they succeed? Forget about that guy. Maybe he has an investor. Maybe his dad's got money. Maybe it's something else. You don't know what's happening. But you got to focus on yourself. You're going to focus on what you need to do in order to succeed. So patience. Number 6, you're probably going to run out of money. That's not what they tell you, right? You have even if you have an investor, you find an investor in your startup and they tell you, hey, you can do it for 2 years. But what happens after that is you're going to run out of money if you don't figure out what you're going to do with your product or service or how you're going to sell it. Furthermore, you got to start hustling. You know what hustle means? It means grinding. It means literally pulling everything you got within you in order to succeed. An entrepreneur, look, the 9 to 5 thing, the 2 hours a day, that's bullshit. That's literally bullshit. You know, there's this saying that says, when I started my company, I slept like a baby. I didn't sleep at all. I was working day and night. All right. When I started out, I still work a lot, but I worked for 23 hours a day out of 24. Sometimes I work 25. You got to find, of course, time to sleep, but you got to find something that motivates you so hard to succeed. And let me tell you something. Number 8, people are not going to understand you. You're going to be talking to a lot of people. Don't talk to a lot of people. They're not going to understand you. They're going to pull you down. They're going to tell you that you're probably not going to, that there are a lot of people similar to you. There are a lot of people that are going to take the edge off you, that they're going to take your business and make something better, or you're going to lose your business. Don't talk to a lot of people. Talk to the ones that understand you. They're going to support you because they're going to give you everything in order to succeed. So you have to understand one thing. If you're not ready to spend your nights grinding, thinking, making your business better, if you're not ready to spend your days working on yourself and your business, if you're not willing to spend the time that is required to learn something new and not to be better than other people in order to succeed, look, if you're not willing to be different than other people, something different that your product service has to offer, then you're not going to succeed. This is not for you. And don't kind of judge yourself for that. But in order for you to be an entrepreneur, you got to work very, very hard. And you got to understand that whatever you do, there's a future that goes on for 4, 5, 10 years time. And you got to work on it. Because if you don't work on it, well, nobody else will. And let me tell you something. In business, in startup, in entrepreneurship, it's all about you facing yourself. It's all about you taking the leap of faith without knowing what's underneath. It's the fear that will drive you. It's the edge that will pull you through. And at the end of the day, it's going to be you versus you. And let me tell you something. If you do all that, you're going to be an awesome entrepreneur. And you're going to type your name into that LinkedIn. And I'm going to be clapping all the way. Thank you very much. Hope you liked it.